How is it rocking, Dwayne Nation? Stay here because we are just about to get underway. In the meantime, please like, comment, and subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. We put out weekly sports content, and we want to continue to build up Dwayne Nation and the brand that is Dwayne Sports. Thank you all, and enjoy. Welcome in, Dwayne Nation. This is your host, Justin Paez, alongside Genoa Agudelo, and our guest, my lovely father, Victor Paez, Zoo Crew himself. We just covered the NFC East in our last episode, but we wanted to keep this train rolling. We're going to jump to the NFC North. Before we do that, how do you feel about, Dad, how do you feel with your first episode in covering some football topics?
Well, I'm getting used to it. I'm trying to get warmed up to it. I'm not as good as y'all yet, but I'll be there. I'll be there.
You're doing pretty
Well,
good, Dad. I like what you've done so far, and I like we gave you the thumbs up for sure. But Genoa, how you feeling too, my brother?
I'm feeling great, Justin. You know what I'm saying? Football season's around the corner, man, and it's nothing better with getting ready for football season. It's just around the corner.
Much agreed, much agreed. All right, well, let's dive into some NFC North. You could argue besides the AFC North, this is one of the best divisions
should
in
be good.
football.
Yeah.
We'll start with the team that won the division this past season and made it to the NFC Championship, the Detroit Lions. They start their season Sunday Night Football against the Rams. Obviously, we saw this in I believe it was the wild card, and Detroit pulled it out. Obviously, it's Goff versus his old team, Stafford versus his old team. So I'm interested to what you guys will think. The Lions are hosting. Dad, since you're our guest, I'll let you start us off again. Who's winning that game?
This is a hard game to pick. A couple of the defensive players on the Rams are not there anymore. Detroit's playing at home, so I'm going to pick the Lions. Very close game. It's going to be a close.
I agree. I think the fact that now that Aaron Donald is not going to be in this game, it eases the game plan. Maybe the Lions are able to run the ball more. I think Stafford kind of starts a little flat in the first quarter or two. Give me the Lions as well to start off 1-0.
All right, I'm going to have the Lions as well, so we got a sweep. And, yeah, I just think they're the better team. The Rams will have a good season, though, in which I think we all kind of agree on. But that's a good game to start off the season. And then the Lions, after their first week victory, they play against the Buccaneers at home. Genoa, give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I think once again the Lions, they're the first 2 weeks of the season are the two teams that they played in the postseason and won. It'd be cool if they gave them San Francisco week 3, but yeah, give me the Lions to start off 2-0.
I agree. I think the Lions are definitely going to take this one. They're going to give a lot of pressure to Mayfield. Evans does score in this game, but it's going to be Detroit Lions.
All right. I agree. Detroit to win their second game and start out 2-0. But then they go into Arizona. I have high hopes for Arizona, and I actually have them winning this game, and an electric game, a big Amon-Ra game. I'd argue, I haven't got to look at the Cardinals schedule yet, but this could be the coming out party for Marvin Harrison. But yeah, I have Cardinals. Dad, what do you think?
Surprisingly, the Lions have a good defense. And then Kyler's coming back. I don't think he's going to come back at his best, and it's only going to be the third week. I'm going with the Lions by 10.
Man, this is a tough one. I'm going to have to agree. Lions take this one. If this was later in the year, maybe like week 5, week 6, I'd take the Cardinals. But give me the Lions on this one.
All right. Lions win the majority. So they start 3-0. Then they get to host the Seahawks on Monday Night Football. I think this game will be a tight one. I have the Lions winning it. Jano, what do you think?
Yeah, me too. I think the fact that it's a Monday night gives the momentum more to Detroit. So give me the Lions on this one. Jared Goff has a big time game.
I agree. Jared Goff is going to have this game. I think Laporta's going to score. Amon-Ra is going to score. And a couple of the running backs are going to score. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game on both sides, but Detroit's going to take it.
All right. So we're good there. Lions get the victory. Then we head into the bye week. Week 6 comes around. They go into AT&T, a game they lost last year in Week 17. But we have them winning. You could see that in the last episode when we covered the NFC East and talked about the Cowboys. So we have the Lions 5-0 to start their season. Then they go into Minnesota. First, I want you guys to tell me who you think's going to win, but what will the state of Minnesota be? Who's going to be the quarterback then? I'll start with you, Dad.
If it's Darnold, I'm going to give it to the Lions. Even J.J. McCarthy, I think this is going to be a Jones game, the running game, but I'm going to pull it out with Detroit again. And they're going to take it by 10 points also. I think Detroit's going to take this one.
Yeah, I agree. I do think at this point, though, it'll be J.J. McCarthy for sure. I don't think he'll be out week 7 unless there's like an injury that he's ruled out from. But give me the Lions. I don't like this road matchup for Jared Goff. But since the quarterback is J.J. McCarthy, and I think he's going to be prone to some turnovers there, give me the Lions on this one.
I'm going to take the Lions as well on the road to start them off at 6-0. And then we go into week 8, and we have them winning against the Tennessee Titans to go 7-0. Then they go, and they're clearly their hardest test of the season so far. They go to face against the Packers, a division rival in Lambeau Field. Genoa, what do you think?
No, this is their first loss of the season. I think that the Packers are going to you're going to have a fantastic game on both sides of the ball. I think Jared Goff is going to have a terrible game, and I'm predicting 2 forced fumbles recovered, 2 strip fumbles from Jared Goff to the Green Bay Packers defense, and they win.
Yes, especially when they're playing at Green Bay, at Lambeau Field. They're going to get at Jared Goff. I mean, and then on the offensive side, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, they're going to all be just feeding. It's going to be a high-scoring game. Green Bay's going to take it by probably 15 points.
All right, so you have a confident Packers. I have a less confident but still Packers decision. So we have the Lions losing their first game, but they get right back on the horse and they go into Houston, and we have them pulling out a victory over C.J. Stroud and the Texans. So they get a good victory back after losing their first one, and then they come and host the Jaguars, which we have them winning. And so in their third straight game against the AFC South, we have them losing this one though in Indianapolis to Shane Steichen and company. But then we get their first game against the Bears. This game is on Thanksgiving. Genoa, what do you think?
Justin, we're going to be together on that day, and we're going to be watching that, chewing down some turkey before everyone gets there. Man, this is going to be a shootout of shootouts, Justin.
I agree.
I think I'm going to go with the Bears on this one.
Wow.
I think the Lions have a backside of the season where they start 8-1, 9-10-1, but they lose a couple games, leading to the playoffs. I think this is one of them. Give me the Bears, and Caleb Williams shines on Turkey Day. By the way, Justin, I don't think the Lions have won on Thanksgiving in about 4 to 5 years, I would say. So I think that streak continues.
Well, they're definitely going to win this year. I think they're going to take over. They're going to get at Caleb Williams. It's going to be Detroit Lions.
All right, I have Detroit too. I'll have them splitting with the Bears this year, but I have them winning their home game on Thanksgiving. But that's an interesting point you point out that they're on a little losing streak on Thanksgiving. But okay, on to week 14. They get a rematch with the Packers. I'm going to start us off here. I think they lose it again to Green Bay. I think Green Bay has their number this year. The only team that will kind of put some fear into the Lions' eyes besides, maybe the 49ers on their schedule and the Eagles in the conference. But I think Green Bay will be a test for them this year, and I think Green Bay pulls out the victory. Dad, what do you think?
Yes, I agree. I think Green Bay will pull it out. It'll be real close. I think Jared Goff still might have a pretty good game. The defense on Green Bay is pretty good, so it might be a running game for Detroit.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Packers are going to win. Justin, I feel like the Packers are going to be tough to beat every week of this NFL season. I mean, they are loaded on defense. They're loaded on offense now with their star quarterback. Well, I don't want to say star quarterback, but he is their franchise going forward, and he is the man, and he knows how to ball. And so definitely give me the Packers.
All right. We got Packers giving the Lions their third loss. So to put in perspective, they have the same amount of losses as the Philadelphia Eagles for the first seed, but they have 2 road games to jump through. But we'll go into week 15 where we have them beating the Buffalo Bills. But then they go on the road for 2 straight weeks. The first one being against the Chicago Bears. Genoa, you had the Bears beating them on Thanksgiving. Is this a game the Bears will also win?
Yeah, Justin, I feel like Jared Goff is going to struggle on the road. At that point, it's going to be freezing cold in Soldier Field. I don't think he'll be able to throw the ball as well as he wants to. I don't think Amon-Ra is going to get separation. Give me the Bears on this one.
I agree. Detroit Golf is not going to have a great game away. They're going to just get at him again and get at him again, and he's not good under pressure. So it's going to be Chicago Bears for sure.
Yeah, those are scary games for me with Jared Goff when it's bad weather and on the road. That's not his environment. And I guess he's always kind of played indoors for the most part, or at least in good weather. So yeah, okay, we got the Bears, and then they have another road game, a rematch of the NFC Championship on Fantasy Football Championships. This will be on Monday. But it was a good game for I guess the team for the most part in that playoff game. But this is the regular season, and they're back in Levi Stadium. Dad, who do you think's going to win the game?
It's going to be San Francisco for sure. They're going to take this one, and it's going to be by a lot. They're going to, again, get at Jared Goff. He doesn't play well. I don't understand why, but it's going to be San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, I agree. I think Amon-Ra, Justin, gets locked. I think he has a catch for 8 yards, and that's it for Amon-Ra. Give me the 49ers, as I think they might make a late run in the season. You know, I'm not the most confident in San Francisco to start the year. Maybe the back half leading to the playoffs, they make a run, and I do think they beat the Lions.
All right, I have the Niners as well. And then we'll finish their season off at home against the Vikings. I have a victory there for them. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they get they've lost a couple at this point, so I think they turn up. Dan Campbell has them motivated, and they get that last week.
I agree. I was going to say the same thing. After 2 losses back to back, they're going to take this win, and it probably be a close game, but the Lions are going to take it at home.
And it'll give them some good momentum because they'll have a playoff spot for sure. Hopefully, we'll see if they win the division, but they end their season at 12-5. They split in their division, which that'll be an interesting number if the Packers or the Bears can get up there. But okay, we'll jump to the Green Bay, which we actually have their first 3 games already decided. We have them losing in Brazil to the Eagles, then hosting the Colts and pulling out a victory, which I think that'll be one of the sneaky, fun, very good games to watch in this season. And then week 3, they go into Tennessee, where we have Tennessee pulling out an upset. It's funny, this game, for some reason, I always think of, it was like 6 years ago when Tannehill had just joined. I think he had just started becoming the starter, and they upset Green Bay when Aaron Rodgers was on a tear. And I kind of just view it as the same story. So Tennessee gets the victory at home, and then Green Bay gets to host the Minnesota Vikings. Dad, is this a victory for Green Bay?
Yes, it's going to be at home, Lambeau Field. They're going to take it. They're going to win another one. If you don't be surprised, Green Bay is going to be one of the top teams. I mean, he's in his second year, or probably third year now, right, Love?
I think
So fourth year.
fourth year, I think.
Fourth year.
I'd
Well, he
say
didn't play his first year.
fifth year.
Well,
The
he just
first
played
year,
his first year.
second
Yeah,
start.
yeah, he's so yeah, he's good. It's going to be Green Bay for sure.
Yeah, definitely fire up that Packers defense, Justin. They're going to be all over J.J. McCarthy, which could probably be his first start. Maybe looking at it, maybe that's a little too late. Maybe he could be a week 2, week 3 guy. But definitely give me the Packers in this one.
All right, bet. Just looking to clarify for us, he's going into his 5th season actually.
5th season. Okay.
So I guess he sat out 3 years and he got his first
Yeah,
start this year.
I'm in the second start. Yeah, so that's.
But yeah, I also have Green Bay pulling out the victory here. I was hearing what you were saying, Dad, and I think we all kind of have the same notion at how good Green Bay is going to be this year. But looking in the fantasy football scope, I'd like to get your both takes on this. Where do you have Jordan Love amongst fantasy quarterbacks? Would you have him as a QB1 for you? Or what's your outlook on him? I'll start with you, Pops.
I will have him as my QB1. He'll put up numbers for you, so I think I could have him as a QB1, and you could pick him up probably late, 9th or 10th round.
Yeah, about around
Yes,
there.
and that's a good start, and he will have his 300-yard games. Probably out of the 17 games, probably easy half will be 300-yard games. I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think he is definitely a starter for fantasy. If I had to rank them, Justin, I mean, I would say maybe top 7 because Justin with the Packers, they have all. I mean, yes, they have Watson and Dobbs and Wicks, but they have all these random guys that pop up that Green Bay's always done, even through the Aaron Rodgers era. They have like random tight ends that take off, and now Justin,
Yeah,
I think they
Jake.
have they have Jacobs down the backfield that can catch passes, and maybe he can score some receiving touchdowns, and it helps the offense move around, and so. Obviously they have Dylan. I think they drafted another guy just in the running back room. So I think it helps Jordan Love to be a great fantasy quarterback.
Marshawn Lloyd, they did draft from USC. So, yes, they have all the talent in the world. And before we get back on topic, I'd like to play a little game with you guys. A very original game I made up myself. Not really. It's called This or That. So we're going to do it Jordan Love in fantasy or Tua. Genoa, you go first.
Oh, man. Oh. I hate to say Tua, but he has Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and they have those games where they just steamroll people. And I feel like maybe Jordan Love wins games for the Packers, but his fantasy stat line isn't like extreme. It's maybe like, 242 yards and maybe 2 passing touchdowns is where Tua's like 381 yards, 3 passing touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I guess I don't like to say Tua over Jordan Love, but fantasy, yes, because the matchups are always better with Miami, especially when they're home.
I'm not going to agree with you. I'm going to agree that Tua, he starts off pretty good, and then the second half, he gets 181 yards, 220, 1 touchdown, a couple of turnovers, and Love could run it. Now he can throw it. He's just more confident now. I'm going to go with Love.
It's funny. I would look at this as start of the season, I want Tua. That team is going to be hot like they always are, as you mentioned. They're going to be hot, and then they're going to end the season cold. I'm almost certain for it, especially with their schedule. So if you're in a league that there's not a lot of trades going on, maybe you don't want to get Tua, but in leagues that we're in, especially me, Genoa, we all like to trade here. If I got Tua, I'm sending him out by week 8. He's going to start out hot. He's going to be good for you. If you want to win early, pick Tua. Overall, in the end of the season, I think Jordan Love will be the better fantasy quarterback, though. But okay, back on topic. I do like that game, though. I might have to start using it more. All right, so Packers, we have them beating the Vikings. Then they go into Los Angeles to play the Rams. Before you do this, I'm going to do one more this or that, and I feel like it's pretty right in front of us. Stafford or Jordan Love in fantasy football? Dad.
That's not even close. Love by a long shot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I would take Jordan Love.
By a long
Yeah,
shot.
you see those games last year. I don't think Stafford got over 20 points ever. I mean, he might have maybe got one, maybe, and that
All
was
right. You think so?
yeah. It's gonna be
He's
more.
got,
It's gonna be a lot of running game. He's what 40 years old now. I mean, he's getting old.
Yeah.
And,
he's getting old, but he's got Cooper Kupp and Puka Nakua.
but Cooper Cup, he's slowed down the last. I mean, he might have got more healthier now, but I think it's gonna be Love. I would pick Love.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
All right.
Stafford would be a good backup for 100%. I wouldn't have him as my starter.
Okay. Yeah, that makes
I
sense.
would have him as my backup.
Yeah. I mean, he's got. I mean, he doesn't run. I wouldn't say Jordan Love runs too much either, but
But he had the opportunity to run more than Stafford.
I mean, yeah, he's
I
what
mean,
10,
Stafford,
12 years younger, but
Stafford's
yeah.
a baby. I mean, I could walk faster than they run. I mean, come on.
Oh, I don't know about all that. Man.
I'm being sarcastic, but
I
you
get
know
what you're saying.
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. All right. I will jump back onto it. All right. So then, talking through all that, Dad, who's winning that game? Packers at Los Angeles Rams.
It's close because Rams are at home, but I'm going with Green Bay. I think they just have a lot more weapons that are younger and they're hungry, and so they're gonna win this one. I think.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna take the Packers on the road.
Dang. Okay. I guess I'm a big Rams fan or something. I would have had the Rams. But okay, Packers get the victory on the road. Then they come back and they host the Cardinals. Genoa, who's winning it?
Man, you know how much I love Maserati Mar, but I think Kyler is going to be the one that struggles on the road. I think Green Bay's defense is going to be hot all year, except that week 1 game in Brazil. But I think this is a game that the Green Bay defense, it just wins it for him. Kyler struggles.
I agree. They're at home. It's hard to beat them at Lambeau Field. Now with that second full year under his belt, being comfortable with all the three receivers and now a new running back, I think Green Bay's going to take this one.
All right, we got Green Bay. I agree, Green Bay. Then we go into Week 7, a really great matchup. Texans go into Lambeau. We have Jordan Love getting the better of C.J. Stroud. Those two quarterbacks obviously took the league by storm last year. But we have Green Bay winning that. Then Green Bay, we have losing on the road to Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. And to be honest with you, when we first did this episode, I wasn't as high on the Jaguars as I am now. I'm kind of growing on them. I don't know why. Just new coordinators in the offense, and he got paid. So hopefully he can back that up. But we have Jacksonville winning.
What happens when they get paid?
That's true. It's usually the opposite thing happens, but he hasn't proven anything. So I hope we get to see something. But anyway, so we have Jacksonville with the victory. And right before, no, you know what? Actually, never mind. We'll continue. Packers, we have them beating the Lions at home before their bye week. Then they come out of their bye week and they face Caleb Williams in Chicago. Dad, who's winning it?
I would say Chicago Bears considered at home, but he's a rookie, Caleb Williams. I think he's going to struggle with the defense of Green Bay. Green Bay's going to take this one.
Yeah, I feel like the pressure's going to get to Caleb Love. I feel like the Bears fans are probably going to be having a good season up to that point. They're going to be like, oh my God, we're going to beat Green Bay now. I don't think we're there yet, so give me the Packers.
All right. I would have had the Bears kind of breaking their streak of losing to the Green Bay, but the streak continues. And then we have the Niners going into Lambeau. Obviously, the Niners have had the Packers number for just about as long as I can remember. But Green Bay is home for this matchup. Genoa, who wins it?
I'm going to go ahead and give it to the Packers. I think Jordan Love has a fantastic game. I picked Mahomes to win the MVP, but I feel like after this game, they're going to be saying, oh, well, we're going to add Jordan Love to this MVP combo up until Week 18.
And Dad, what do you?
I'm going. Yeah, I think. Man, this is going to be a tough game here to pick because San Francisco has great players, great defense, but they're at home, Lambeau Field. I think I'm going to give it to Love. Also, I think they're going to pull it out. It's not going to be by much, but they'll pull it out by probably 6 points there.
I agree. I think Green Bay is going to exercise some demons there and finally get to pull out a victory. And they're home. So I'll give the love to Love. And then we go into Week 13. It's actually a Thanksgiving game, so we'll be together for this game. It'll be the night game as well. Packers play the Dolphins. We have the Packers winning. I think that game will be really electric. And then we have Green Bay going into Detroit the next week and winning. So they're on a 5-game winning streak. We'll see if it continues as they go into Seattle to face off against Geno Smith, Mike McDonald, DK Metcalf and company. Dad, who do you think's winning it?
I'm going with Green Bay again. I don't think Geno Smith is going to pull it out on this one. It's going to be Green Bay.
I have a trap game. I actually think that the Seahawks offense kind of tears it up. Lockett, Jackson Smith and Jigba, DK, even Kenneth Walker gets involved. I like the Seahawks in an upset.
I agree. I have Seattle pulling out an upset at home. Their games are always interesting. Obviously, back then with the Rodgers and Russell Wilson days. But I'm pretty high on Mike McDonald, Ryan Grubb. I think DK might be in for a post sleeper breakout year, kind of, because he's kind of been kind of middling for a couple in the teens range of fantasy. But I think this could be his breakout season. And at this point of the year, I think Seattle could be hitting their stride. So yeah, we have majority picking Seattle. Then they go back home and they host the New Orleans Saints on Monday Night Football. Jano, what do we think?
I'm going to go ahead and get the Packers. I just feel like the Saints are just going to struggle. And Lambeau, it's going to be tough all year to go into that stadium and to beat Green Bay. So give me the Packers.
I agree. It's going to be the Packers. Derek Carr is not going to have a great game. It's hard to play at Lambeau, especially Derek Carr. He's a fumbling and he throws interceptions there, but that defense is going to take care of it. So it's going to be Green Bay.
I agree. Packers to win that one. Then the Packers will end their season with two division matchups, which are going to be important down the stretch if they want to get in touch with the Lions. Right now, they have a better record than them, and they have these two games remaining. This one is in Minnesota. Dad, who's winning it?
I have to go with Green Bay again. It's just whichever quarterback is going to start is going to be either a rookie or you could call him a rookie, Sam Darnold, because he doesn't play. It's not. I mean, all they have is Jefferson right now, and Addison's all right, but they did pull up Jones in there, but Green Bay's just too much defense.
I'm gonna agree. I feel like with the Vikings, I'm so down on them this year. I just don't think that JJ McCarthy or Sam Donald has the tools enough to win them more than 7 or 8 games, especially in that tough division now, Justin, with the Bears now looking good. So give me the Packers to win that one.
Yeah, and I think it's tough for Minnesota. I mean, they missed the playoffs last year, correct? And they didn't even. I mean, they lost Kirk actually through part of the season, so maybe I'll take that back. But going into the season, having a rookie or Sam Darnold being your quarterbacks for the season is not a super good thing, a super exciting thing for the team. So I have Green Bay, and then they end their season against Caleb Williams at home, though. And this victory is for the division, so I think they'll be motivated. So I'm going to have Green Bay winning it at home. Dad, what do you think?
It's going to be Green Bay. They're not going to do it with the rookie quarterback against the Lambeau Field. I mean, it's just too many weapons right now. I'm telling you, Green Bay is going to be top 5 team this year. They just have the defense and the offense. So
Yeah, I agree. Give me the Packers to end out on top on the season. Week 18.
All right. So in doing so, we've given the Packers the number 1 seed in the NFC North, which is hit big because right now, of course, the favorite around the league is Detroit. But we have Green Bay 13-4, topping a 12-5 record, which will clearly detail that the Lions will have the highest wild card team record. But yeah, anyways, we're moving to Chicago, and we'll kind of pick up the pace because we're already at 27 minutes. But
yeah,
we have the Bears. We have them beating the Titans in Caleb Williams' debut. They're home, and they face off against a team that we don't think is going to do very well this year. So they become 1-0. But then they go on the road to face the Texans. We have them losing that game. That's a tough game for Caleb, as well as the next week against the Colts, who are another very good team. In week 4, they host the Rams, though. I'm going to have them. Wow, this one's tough. I'll actually defer to you guys. Give me some extra time. Jano, what do you think?
I'm going to go and say the Bears win this one. I just don't like the road matchup for Stafford. I think he struggles throwing the ball. I think the pressure is really high. The Bears get to him, and I think the Bears take this one.
Pops?
Oh man, this is gonna be a close game. Kyron Williams, if he's healthy enough to play, he's gonna do. He's gonna have a good game. He is a rookie. You know what? I'm gonna go with the Rams. I think the Rams might take this one.
Wow, that makes it tough for me. Dang it, not at the pick. Man, looking at it's tough because I believe in the unit that is around Caleb. I don't love the coaching. You know what? I'm gonna go the Rams as well. I have high hopes for them, and I think that they pull one out on the road. That's a tough game though, very close. But the Bears get another opportunity at home. They play the Panthers, number 1 pick Caleb Williams versus number 1 pick Bryce Young. I'm gonna go with the Bears in this one, Dad. What do you think?
It's gonna be the Bears. They'll take care of business. I think it's gonna be still another 1 or 2 years before Carolina even starts putting out. They need a couple of more pieces to make them a contending team. So it's gonna be the Bears.
Yeah, me too. I like the Bears in this one for sure.
Okay, so we got Bears on that one. We have the Bears beating the Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence in week 6 at home. And then week 7, they have a bye week. They come back, they play the Commanders, and they lose that game, the number 1 pick versus the number 2 pick. But then we go into week 9, which will be the number 1 pick versus the number 4 pick. And I remember you guys saying that the Cardinals might hit a stride later in the year. So let me hear what you got to say on this. I'll start with Genoa.
Yep, I'm definitely having the Cardinals in this one. By that point, Maserati Marv, I
Oh,
think in this game he has 103 yards and 2 touchdowns. Shreds the Bears.
Yes, I agree. I think the Cardinals are going to take this one. He will have probably 10 catches. it's going to be the Cardinals for sure.
I agree. Cardinals get that victory. So the Bears come off the bye and lose 2 straight games, but we have them coming back in week 10 to win at home against the Drake May and the Patriots, which is funny. They play against the number 2 pick, 4 pick, and 3 pick in consecutive weeks, but they get a victory in this game. And then they stay at home and they play the Packers, which we have them losing, which we just talked about a few minutes ago. And then they get to host the Vikings at home. I would have the Bears pulling out a victory in this one. Jano, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to be very down on the Vikings, especially here when we get into them. So definitely taking the Bears on this one.
I'm going to agree. It's going to be a close game. I think Aaron Jones will have a great game, but it's going to be the Bears.
All right, we have the Bears winning at home, but then going on the road on Thanksgiving and losing to the Detroit Lions. Then they have another tough matchup. They go into San Francisco. I'm looking at you guys. I'm assuming we're going to have San Francisco across the board. Should I just roll with that? Okay, we have San Francisco. Oh, this one's a tough one, though. We just had the Bears beating Minnesota at home, but will they do it on the road, Dad?
It's going to be Minnesota. I think they will take this one. It's going to be a close game again, but they'll pull it out at home. Minnesota's going to win.
I'm going to agree this one. I like Minnesota. One of the few games I like Minnesota in this year.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I think Minnesota wins it. I think this game, though, too, look, so it's Monday Night Football. Minnesota gets to win it. And I feel like Minnesota, this will be their Super Bowl of the year because with Kirk Cousins, one of his biggest flaws is he can never win in prime time, especially Monday nights, but they get the victory there. But the Bears are able to bounce back, having a huge win over the Lions at home. Then they have a home game on Thursday Night Football against the Seahawks. Dad, who do you think's winning that game?
Another close game. I'm going to give it to Seattle. I think they're a little better defense. I'll give it to Seattle on this one.
I'm going to go opposite. I actually like the Bears in this, and I think Seattle struggles a lot offensively.
You know what? I'm gonna go with the Bears as well. Getting the victory. They go, and then we have them losing to Green Bay in the finale of the season, which gives them a 7-10 record, which is, I believe, what they had last year. So they even out with a much better roster. Even though it is rookie year for Caleb. But I'd be interested to see how things go for them at the end of the year if they keep Keenan Allen. They'll have DJ Moore and, of course, Rome Odunze. But interesting that they don't improve after all the improvements they were able to make to the roster. But okay, 7-10, and then we'll end the division with the Vikings, which is kind of bleak, not as bleak as the Giants. Even though we have them losing to the Giants in the first week of the season, but then they have a tough matchup. It is at home, though, against the Niners. Jano, what do you think?
I like the Niners in this one. Justin, the last time these two faced off, it was on Monday night. Is when Kirk tore his ACL. Oh, wait, I don't think he did. It was his last full week before he tore his ACL.
Yeah, you're right.
And I feel like the 49ers are going to be angry and motivated, and I think they take this one for sure.
McCaffrey's going to eat. He's going to eat, so it's going to be San Francisco all the way.
I agree. I think the Niners will win a close game, but McCaffrey will eat like Genoa grubs.
Yeah, there you go.
It'll be a good game to watch in the second week of the season. But then we have them 0-2. They go 0-3. They lose to Houston at home. Then they have a road game with Green Bay, a division foe, and we have them losing that game. But we have them pulling an upset. In their first win, they play against a tough Jets team. We have Sam Darnold maybe likely playing a revenge game against the Jets, his former team. I was thinking of giving the Vikings a win because technically Sam Darnold's former team in week 2 against the Niners, that is his former team. But anyway, past that, we have the Vikings getting their first victory. They're happy. They go into their bye week. They lose, though, coming back, and they playing against the Lions at home. But then they have a road game on Thursday Night Football against the Los Angeles Rams, Dad. Who do you think's winning it?
Rams are going to take this by a lot. They might even shut Minnesota out.
Yeah. Big game for Stafford and
Yeah.
Cooper Cup.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I have the Rams as well. Then I have the then we have the Vikings pulling a victory out against the Colts. So that's a tough matchup, but they're able to win it. But then they have a stretch of 3 straight losses, 3 straight road games for the Vikings. That's unfortunate for them, but they lose to the Jaguars, then the Titans, and then the Bears. Then in Week 13, we have the Vikings hosting the Cardinals. What do we think is going to happen, Jano?
I'm going to go ahead and say the Cardinals. Like, I just don't believe in the Minnesota Vikings at all. I know they have a good coaching staff, and Jefferson is amazing. I'm just not confident in what they have at quarterback. I think Kirk just gave them that, extra spark. And if they couldn't win a playoff game with Kirk, I just don't know what they're going to do with Darnold and McCaffrey. So all year, I'm just not impressed with them. Give me the Cardinals. They're hot at that point of the year, and so definitely like them there.
I agree. If Cousins going to do it, they're definitely not going to do it against the Cardinals. Another Marvin Day. It's going to be the Cardinals.
All right. I would have had the Vikings getting the victory there, but we have Cardinals winning the majority. Vikings, this game will be an interesting one. I believe is it Sunday night? It might be, but the interest is Kirk Cousins returning to Minnesota, a revenge game for Atlanta. I have Atlanta pulling out a victory here in hot pursuit of the division title. Dad, who do you think's winning it?
Definitely Atlanta. I mean, they're going to run all over them, pass all over them. And it's going to be probably a 20-point lead at the end of the game.
I like me a nice Kirk Cousins revenge game. Hopefully, if he makes it there. So definitely like the Falcons there.
All right, so we got Falcons across the board. Then we have the Vikings pulling out a victory against Chicago, but then they go into Seattle, and I have Seattle winning this game. Jano, what do you think?
I'm going to go ahead and say the Seahawks win it. I don't think they're going to be a bad team this year, but teams like when they line up against the Vikings at home, I think that the home crowd in Seattle gets the best of the Vikings.
I agree. It's going to be the Vikings. I mean, it's going to be Seattle. I'm sorry. It's going to be Seattle winning this one.
All right, Seattle sweeps. And then we have the Vikings in their last 2 games. They play against the Packers. They lose it, and they also lose in Detroit to put a sour taste in the mouth of the Vikings. There's questions: did they pick wrong with J.J. McCarthy? We have them going 3-14. That's a lot worse than I thought they would be, but that is what the predictions say. And that wraps up our NFC North predictions. We have the Packers winning the division at 13-4. Then the Lions, they have a great record in 12-5, probably a playoff team as well. But then we have the Bears at 7-10 and the Vikings at 3-14 to wrap up that division. We already did the NFC East, and we're about to finish out with the NFC South and the NFC West. So you guys stay tuned. And we'll be right back. And as always, peace.
Peace out.